In Parashat Titzaveh, the Chumash is describing the fashioning of the vestments of the Bigdei Kahuna, the vestments of the Kohanim. We spent much time actually talking about all these different vestments in great detail. Moshe is commanded in the beginning of the Parsha, in verse 2 of chapter 28, to make these vestments. That you should make these vestments, you Moshe. But in verse 3 it's clarified that he himself is not to physically make the vestments. Personally, rather, he is apparently commanded to instruct those who are chachmei lev, who are full of ruach chachma, those who are skillful, that they themselves should make the vestments. So Moshe is actually apparently commanded not to do that himself proper, but rather to oversee the fashioning of these vestments. So why is that? Why does the Chumash go out of its way to clarify that while Moshe oversees the fashioning of these vestments, he doesn't make them himself? So Rabbi Yehuda Amital makes the argument, and here I would point out as well that this is the one parsha in all of the Chumash from the time that Moshe is introduced as a character at the beginning of Sefer Shemot until the end of Bamidbar. This is the one parsha where his name does not appear explicitly. He's only referred to as you. And he's the addressee of the command, but his name is not explicit. So Rabbi Yehuda Amital argues that Moshe, while it is important that he sort of oversee and make sure that the vestments, the Bigdei Kahuna, are fashioned, Moshe can't be the one to make them himself. And this is because, Rabbi Amital argues, Moshe is someone who, as we recall, has spent 40 days and 40 nights not eating and drinking, living among the angels, as it were, speaking to God face to face. Moshe is somebody on the level for whom garments and clothes and externalities are of no great import. They're simply insignificant. And what really matters is what happens on the inside. And therefore, for Moshe, there's a certain block. He's unable to fully invest himself in the care that it takes and the fashion, the care that it takes to fashion these garments. He is, in a sense, someone who lives beyond such things. On the other hand, the people very much are in need of Kohanim who are dressed in these garments, lechavod letifaret, as the verse says, for the greater glory of God, for the glory of the Kohanim, for the sake of the awe that Chumash desires the people to feel towards the Mikdash, towards the Mishkan, towards the ritual that happens therein, to this entire enterprise. And therefore it's important that the Kohanim be dressed in these wondrous garments. And as such, Moshe, while he himself can't occupy himself with such things, it's important that he makes sure that it happens nonetheless. And Rabbi Amital argues that this is something important for us to carry in general. On the one hand, yes, a focus on interiority and a focus on intentionality, a focus on the inner rather than the outer. And at the same time, recognizing that indeed the outer does have its place and does have a certain level of import. He actually noted, Rabbi Amital, that when he was younger, he would go around to the dorms in his yeshiva and make sure that the students were tidy and dressed neatly and cleanly. When he got older, he was too tired for such things. But for him, it is quite significant that the yeshiva dress appropriately, dress cleanly and neatly, even though he certainly was someone who stressed very much the importance of authenticity, of intentionality, of the inner life. The Bidei Kahuna, as it were, in our own lives are also significant. So the Parsha tries to balance these two. On the one hand, Moshe's name is absent from this Parsha, and on the other hand, he is nonetheless commanded to make sure that our Bigdei Kahuna are constructed. Shabbat Shalom.